Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Wednesday to you all. Let us continue with the latest in terms of the Dreamcatcher drops. We checked out the title track, Justice, and what a time it was. We got dark, we got heavy, we got aggressive Dreamcatcher back. And now we have the rest of the B-sides to get through. Of course, we're going to be listening through the latest VirtuouS EP, the latest in what is appearing to become kind of known as the Versus series of albums, or at least that's how I'm going to be referring to them, considering the first album, Villains, was also stylized with the same capital V, capital S. So, yes, I'm very excited for it. I'm looking forward to seeing some familiar faces on the album credits. Knowing Dreamcatcher, they've probably worked with many a familiar name, especially if you've been a long time Insomnia, and also are familiar with some of the musical works from the Edenary music team, with the likes of Eden, Olander, Maddox, Door, those guys. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Dreamcatcher, of course, I've been following them for years at this point. My first comeback was Dystopia the Tree of Language with Scream. And of course, I've gone back to the discography before then. And for me and my musical taste, Dreamcatcher always delivers when it comes to the B-sides. There's at least one or two just top tier banger B-sides that they deliver. And I'm hoping we get the same again. So, enough stalling, let's get into it. Here we go. And remind me to go and update that girl group intro now that Dreamcatcher has a comeback, because I need to update, I think, Red Velvet's as well. But let's get started. I've got the album credits pulled up on the side. I've also got Genius pulled up as well, so I can kind of look up in real time some of the new names on here, because I know for a fact we have some new names on here. It's not the usual culprits from the Edenary team or the Pizza Toppings gang, which is... It feels like maybe it's a turning, like a changing of the guard, so to speak. First we lost Lee's a little while ago, and now it's like we're losing some of the Pizza Topping members as well. But we'll see. We'll see what they've brought to the table today. Because track number one, the intro track. Interesting enough, the intro is nearly 4 minutes long. Intro, 7 Dreamcatcher. Composition, Olander, Tankso, Chu Hyung, Song Hyung, and Lakov. Same on arrangement. Let me press play and start going on Genius real quick. So Tankso did drums on Dreamcatcher's Rising from Last Era. Chu Hyung did guitar on Rising from Last Era. What about Lakov? Oh, Lakov is new. Okay. Why is it really pretty? Like, it's really pretty. I don't know what is happening right now, but I'm getting very big 1980s power ballad vibes from this. Now we're really feeling the power ballad. Hold on, it's a wee bit loud. bit more melodic and light with it. Sharp piano hits, though. Ramp up the intensity one time, okay. Oh, sauce on that bass one time. I need to know if someone has done full credits on this, like who's playing what. Oh, it hasn't been released yet. Man, for an intro, I mean, this is a long intro. The intros are usually like 90 seconds long on an album. We're getting a full-length song. In fact, this is a long full-length song in this day and age, in this economy. But it takes you on a journey. Wow. That is one hell of a way to start an album. My goodness. I mean, Dreamcatcher are no stranger to an intro track on their album. Nothing of this magnitude, though. That's insanity. That is a... Look, in this K-pop economy, a near 4-minute song is like an eternity. And in a day and age where we're getting like sub 2-minute 30 songs as the norm, this is insanity. But the fact that this is an instrumental-only intro that's almost 4 minutes long is crazy to me. But the thing is, it's really good. It's really, really good. And I think the best way I can put it is Pokemon? Now, bear with me for a second. You know how in certain Pokemon games, the music will kind of change and the arrangement will like change slightly as you kind of progress through the game. If you have a certain number of badges and you go back to a certain place, the music will be different. It's got that kind of vibe to it. It's like every time you go through a certain phase in the song, it develops into something a little bit different. And so you're kind of left with a fresh sensation every single phrase throughout the song. And I think that's really neat. But also, as someone who has such a soft spot for the 1980s hard rock and hair metal scene, especially in the power ballad subgenre, this for me is so me-coded. All it's missing is a vocal line from the members. And honestly, I don't know if Dreamcatcher will ever do a Purple Kiss and make an intro track into a proper full-length B-side. They did that with like Pretty Psycho back in the day. I don't know if Dreamcatcher will ever do that, but if this song ever turns into a full, like, proper song with a vocal top line, I welcome it with open arms. Because that is magnificent, an absolutely stupendous way to start an album. Considering this would be followed up by track number 2, Justice, the title track. We'll read off the lyrics or credits real quickly. Justice, lyrics by Olander and Door, composition Olander and Tankzo, same on arrangement, which explains the big which explains the clever drumming pattern, because I believe, right, if I remember correctly, Tankzo did the drums on Rising. Yeah, so that checks out. Rising off of their previous album. Takes us to track number 3, titled Stomp, with a very interesting, I don't know what language that is, but very interesting O, with an exclamation point, very important. Lyrics by Olander, Door, and Balm. Balm, that sounds familiar. Composition Olander, Door, and Tankzo is Olander and Tankzo on arrangement. Balm, what did you work on? Let's see. Balm worked on... Oh, some of the new AT stuff on the Golden Hour EP, and some of the new Psychers stuff as well. Cool. Snappy, crispy. Get a little pretty with it one time too. Long build for this pre-chorus. There it is. Oh! I love that vocal line goes down the scale. Oh, it creates a really cool sound. This song does an amazing job of dragging out that anticipation. It's at that part in the melody is so cool. It just all of a sudden it goes a little bit major and it goes a little bit pretty. The choir's getting this workout in this album. Yes, Cheon! That is what I'm talking about. Two vocal songs in. This is a very heavy album sonically. Like, we are not shying away from that heavy hard rock sound, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love a really bright, poppy Dreamcatcher song. Like, I think Airplane off of their Summer Holiday album is really cute and really fun. I love a good EDM song, like Can't Get You Out of My Mind or We Are Young from the last album. But rock Dreamcatcher will always be ultimate Dreamcatcher for me. Because the way I connected with Dreamcatcher was through Scream era and figuring out that someone in K-pop is doing a hard rock concept and has been doing it for ages. As someone who grew up around that 80s hard rock and hair metal scene, like I explained earlier, it's essentially a match made in heaven for me. And to hear multiple songs now that go in that direction on this album, yes, automatically gets a yes from me. But Stomp as a song does the development thing so well. It's so easy to follow, and that energy, the way it develops the energy throughout the song, especially in that really long pre-chorus, and then you have the big kind of shouting stomp moments, and then the full drop happens, you feel everything in the song with your whole body. Oh, I would love to hear this live. I would love to hear this live. That's terrific, though. That's a really, really good song. Right. Track number 4, Two Rings, lyrics by Olander and Door. Composition, Olander, Door, Kikoi, and Tankso. It was Olander, Kikoi, and Tankso on arrangement. Kikoi. You were on We Are Young. Okay. Let's see. What does it say? What you did? Just composition arrangement. Okay. Ooh. So could we possibly be getting an EDM song then? Because this is the only, like, Two Rings and We Are Young are the only songs he has listed on Genius. Doesn't seem like it off first rip, but this could change. Giving it a little bit of yeehaw rock at the moment. A little Western influence with that swing. Now we're getting some more of that digital work coming in with that synthesizer. Vocal chops. Wait, are we in the second verse now? Where's the chorus? Did we have a short first verse, or did I just completely miss it? I guess this is the chorus then. So we don't really have like a big prominent pre-chorus, if that's the case. You feel that extra power in there? Cool. Cool modulation. Yeah, this, I mean, we're 3 for 3 now. If you want to throw an intro 7 Dreamcatcher, go for it. But this entire album is heavy. It's loud. Different flavors of loud, obviously, but God. Okay, so definitely a slower song in terms of tempo. It's stylistically got a lot more of your kind of stereotypical Western sound. It's got more of a laid-back swing to it, but it still has the intensity of it, and it's also got a digital spin on things. Like, that bass definitely has like a almost rubbery, vibrating synth texture to it. Of course, we have the vocal chops in the post-choruses as well, and it does feel like a futuristic kind of Western rock song, and I think that's really neat. It still retains the heaviness, and it still retains that rock concept. It's just definitely a different direction to Stomp and Justice that we got previously. And I guess at some point you did have to get a little sound switch. And interestingly, it, like, my assumption of it being kind of an EDM song weren't too far off. They weren't correct, but they weren't exactly wrong either, in that we did get quite a bit of digital work going on. And yeah, I am now starting to think, like, properly. Have we had a Dreamcatcher era that's had this much digital vocal work done? Like, vocal chops, filters, and stuff. Like, Dreamcatcher really haven't used autotune, if any. The only times I can think of were on certain dummy rap verses where you can feel a little bit of digital autotune going on, but you get, like, vocal filtering, and then this time around we're getting vocal chops. But I feel like the sample size is smaller because it's only you only get 4 vocal-laced songs on it. The fact that we've gotten prominent digital vocals kind of throughout this album makes a really interesting kind of maybe stylistic change that they're going with this era, or if this is going to be something they move forward with in the future. I don't know, but I kind of like it. It might come across as me being kind of hypocritical with how much I've mentioned. I don't really like autotune all that much, but the way the the digital vocal work has been used hasn't been to like alter the pitch of it at all, and it doesn't feel like using the vocal chops or the phaser effect in Justice is meant to do any like correction work. It's more of an aesthetic thing more than anything else. I like the vocal chops in Two Rings more than I like the phaser effect in Justice, but I reckon Justice will grow on me, especially that chorus. Not bad. Future Dreamcatcher, which that's happened quite a few times now, hasn't it? Like the entire Apocalypse era was like future Dreamcatcher if you really deep it, but anyways. One final song on the album, and that makes me very sad indeed, because I don't know how long we're gonna have to wait for new music. But track number 5, titled Fireflies, lyrics by Olander and Dor, composition Olander, Dor, Tankso, and Lakov, with Olander, Tankso, and Lakov on arrangement. So we really don't get Maddox or any of the pizza topping guys. No pepperoni, no olive, no Maddox. And unfortunately, we haven't had Lee's in a very long time. I hope he's doing well. I haven't heard of what he's up to in such a long time, but I miss Lee's, man. But let's get into it. Let's finish strong, shall we? Wow, they threw in a ballad. With how intense this album was, I thought they'd maybe go with an anthem to finish, but it doesn't seem that way. Unless this completely changes after the intro. No, we're going ballad. Piano's staying pretty high. Give me those harmonies, ladies. That's really cool. They mix the harmonies so it's different in either ear. Usually when you get vocal harmonies like that, they blend them so they meet in the middle. Not this time. Oh, the vocals. There's soft vocal Dami I've been waiting for. That's so cool. I don't think I've ever heard that on a K-pop album where each ear has a different note in the vocal harmony. And I mean, you know, the vocals are super pretty already, but to like have the vocal harmony is a level up. Have them separate the vocal harmony is an extra level up. I promise you. Now you've got Shion right in the middle, right up front. Who was holding the bottom harmonies in that final chorus there? Is it Handong and Ga?
I'm Firefly, 날개를 펼쳐 난 Firefly.
That is what I'm talking about. Oh, it's such a pretty ballad. And look, I love a ballad, okay? Like, there's just something so emotionally satisfying, emotionally healing about listening to a sappy ballad. Fireflies doesn't give off immediately sappy ballad vibes, but it's got sappy ballad vibe, like traits to it that really work for me. The way the vocals twinkle, the harmonies. Legitimately, Fireflies can be described by one word: harmonies. There's so much of it, and they're all so pretty sounding. And I know I mentioned it a couple times, but I love the separation in the vocal channels. I think that's so smart. It's going to be really interesting for me as someone who oftentimes listens to music with only one earbud in, because I'm definitely going to be hearing one voice more than another in this, considering my kind of go-to single ear listening is my left ear. So I'll be hearing what I think is the higher vocal in most of the harmonies, which means I'm going to be missing the lower end. I'm guessing a lot of it is Handong and Gahyun, just from vocal range and natural vocal range and the textures that they add, but like the top vocal line is super pretty, but I love the really almost fancy harmony that the bottom harmony line adds. And it's not as simple as, like a 5-note separation or 4. It constantly moves. And having that natural lower vocal members cover that lower vocal harmony almost mellows out the overall sound because of it. It rounds it out, and I think they sound terrific on it. But it's the acapella finish for me that takes the cake for this. The way that they slowly fade the instrumental out. I was thinking, because I heard the instrumental start to kind of fade away, and I was thinking, oh, they're probably going to do one of those. We've gotten it a couple times this year, and I feel like it's a fairly uncommon composition style to, at least in K-pop, to have no real definitive ending and just fade out the song. We've gotten it. I feel like we've gotten it on a couple albums in the past month, and we're seeing a lot more of it this year than we have in the past. But it's just the instrumental in this case. In fact, go back to it. Instruments going away, but the vocal's still there. God damn, that song is so good. Oh, that's really tough. Because Fireflies is an extremely pretty ballad, and I love it already. But for the longest time, my favorite Dreamcatcher ballad has been Polaris, and it has been since I found out about it. There's songs that have come close to dethroning it, but for me, the ultimate Dreamcatcher ballad has been Polaris off of that Rate of Dream album. Given enough mileage out of it, Fireflies has a pretty decent shot of dethroning it now. Wow, I did not think I'd be saying that today. Okay. Let's talk about this album, shall we? First of all, a full-length intro is crazy. Thank you, Dreamcatcher. It's also extremely pretty. I've been really enjoying a lot of their instrumental tracks, so their outros and intros. One that immediately comes to mind is the outro Mother Nature from, I believe that is... What era was that from? Outro Mother Nature. What era was that from? Oh gosh. Outro Mother Nature. Dreamcatcher. That was... Oh, that's Vision Era. Okay. I love listening to Outro Mother Nature especially if I'm out in the wild, like in nature, in the middle of nowhere, I'll just pop it on and it feels so right. Like I listened to it when I went to the most northerly point in Britain and just like standing out in the fields looking over the cliffs into the North Sea and just hearing Outro Mother Nature just ring out is just so pretty. But Intro 7 Dreamcatcher from this VirtuouS album, there is some crack laced into it because it's really good. I love the fact that you almost get a cinematic dramaticism to it, and yet you also get that kind of crunchy heaviness that, ties into the rest of this album, really. Justice. It's, I mentioned on the title track listen, but it's a blend of a couple of different Dreamcatcher sound concepts for me. It's got the dramatic and cinematic from Raid of Dream and Deja Vu. It's got some of the crunchy hardness from the really early days for me, like the really early, Chase Me and Good Night, their debut eras. It's got traits of Bon Voyage in there as well, and it really does feel like the title track that bridges the Dreamcatcher discography, so to speak. It's got some really modern composition notes in there as well, especially with the phaser effect in the vocals, in the choruses. Stomps is a fire tune. It's a song that is just so unashamedly in your face, like really intense, high energy. It's a song that makes you want to run through a brick wall, I think, and it's terrific. I love an intense song like that. Two Rings. Two Rings is like the weird outlier for me, because Two Rings, my brain really likes, but doesn't know how to process it. Well, I'll need to listen to Two Rings a little bit more, but it's kind of, if we're talking energy curves, it hasn't really petered off yet. Maybe it has a little bit, but it still hasn't petered off a whole lot. Usually on an album, you kind of feel that natural progression towards the end. And that's why Fireflies feels like such a cold turkey way of just dropping off the energy curve, because it's such a soft and such a pretty song, following four rather loud and dramatic songs. That gap feels significant. And in an ideal world, they could have, I should say, put a song between Two Rings and Fireflies that bridges that energy curve, or something a little bit more laid back, something like Jazz Bar. There's something that's a little bit more low key, that has a little bit of like a pop to it, that isn't as soft and as slow as a ballad, but isn't as intense as the songs that came before it. Having said that, though, Fireflies is such a pretty song that I don't really have any room to complain about that drastic gap, because it's different gravy. And really, I think that's how the whole VirtuouS album kind of feels for me, is it feels like the first four songs in Fireflies, which is a little bit of a shame. But at the end of the day, like, I can listen to Fireflies on its own and be perfectly happy with it. I can listen to the first four songs in the album and be perfectly happy with it. I don't need to listen to it from like the album front to finish. And even if I do, Fireflies is so good that I don't really care about that big energy drop. And B-side of the album, probably Stomp or Fireflies. I'll give them a couple more listens, but I probably think Stomp is going to take it. I think Stomp is just so me-coded. Although Fireflies, that finish in Fireflies will make the list of top moments in K-pop songs for me, because it's just so pretty. And I think, first listen thoughts, I prefer the title track. I prefer Justice over OOTD off of first listen, but I think I prefer Villains over VirtuouS off of first listen, if we're talking about the overall album. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I'll give VirtuouS a few more listens throughout the week, because I've got a couple errands and traversing adventures that I need to do later in the week, so I'll pop the album on and just get some mileage out of it, see how I'm feeling later in the week. But overall, it's Dreamcatcher, and it's classic Dreamcatcher music, so I'm not going to complain about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well, but that is going to be it from me today. Thank you all for listening along with me. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. One last request from me today. Let's work together as a community to bring a little bit of extra happiness back into the world, whether it be checking with your friends and family, holding the door open for somebody, or even picking up a piece of trash off the street. Just one small act of kindness that may brighten up someone else's day to day. And know that wherever you are in the world, should you ever be going through a tough time in your life, for whatever reason it may be, even though I'm just some guy on the internet who waffles about music in his free time, know that I will always be a friend, an ally, and a shoulder to lean on whenever you need me. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, spread the love, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.